Hi there, Northwest Indiana. It's region weather meteorologist Matt Wentz. Happy Sunday evening to you, everybody. I hope you had a nice weekend. Lake County Fair wrapping up. Fair season not quite over, but a lot of it in the book here as we roll on through the month of August. We obviously have school that's starting up for many of your kiddos, and we have September, which is right on the heels of August with Labor Day officially saying, summer might be over, but summer is not over. When we know that in the forecast, we do have a little bit more warmth, but overall not too bad over the last couple of days. We're going to talk about the pattern that we're kind of stuck in across the eastern U.S. right now. On top of that, we're going to talk about our rainfall chances this week, and we're going to go in the next weekend as well. That's when it gets a little hairy around here. So we'll talk about all that and a lot more in this Sunday evening edition of Region Weather Live. Hi, friends. Hope you guys are doing well. I'll tell you, I've got a lot of information. I've got a lot of windows open right now because there's a lot of things I want to show you. So things tend to be lagging a little bit. So if it's a little slow or I cut out or something like that, I promise as we go throughout this show, we'll certainly get better as we go through time. But how's everybody doing? I want to say hi to Gregory. Hi, Greg. Hi, Jay. Jacqueline. Hello. Phoebe, thanks for joining us tonight. Again, I hope you guys had a good weekend. I know we're kind of soaking up the last days of summer here. But it's really been fairly comfortable. Haven't had any 90-degree heat waves around here. I don't see any in the forecast either, which is some great news. But as always, if you're new to the show, what we like to go over on Sunday nights is kind of getting you planned for your week ahead, what's going on in terms of weather. I know a lot of you, use phone apps, which a lot of us do, and that's okay. But I want to kind of explain what your phone app's saying, what days can change based on what we're looking at in terms of the models and basically what to expect this week. So we'll get through that. Before we get to the show here, I want to thank our sponsors. First and foremost, Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. They've got their new line of Jeeps out ready for summer and ready for fall as well. I hate to say it, but we're going to be talking four-wheel drive before too long around here. But they're the place to go in Valparaiso. They've been in the business in Northwest Indiana for well over 40 years. Again, Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. If you need a new Jeep, make sure you head on over to Grieger's. Also, Tiger Plumbing, one of our favorite plumbers in Northwest Indiana. It doesn't get any better than them. If you have any plumbing issues whatsoever, I know it's not often that happens, but tigerplumbing.net is the place to go. Family-owned business out of Northwest Indiana as well. A lot of you have used them for your plumbing services. They don't charge a trip fee, so they come out for free. Again, tigerplumbing.net, the place to go for that. All right, let's get to the forecast. This is the thing kind of lagging down my internet here, is this 3-day loop of the atmosphere and kind of where it's going here. And you notice the trend of this. Notice the big circulation over the last three days with this ridge that's been centered over Texas and areas of Oklahoma. You get everything that goes up in the west. All those storms that you see out there, that's monsoon season. This is when they need to get their rain. And boy, have they gotten it. A lot of places have really put a dent in the drought, the mega drought, as they call it. They've got some really good rain out there. So Mother Nature knows what she's doing in terms of that. But you can see how it all kind of goes up and then it goes over that ridge. And we've been stuck in this pattern of northwest flow for several days now. And we're going to be in this northwest flow kind of pattern over the course of the week. So that ridge of warmth, which is kind of tampered down a little bit out towards the west, is really going to stay there. And we're going to stay quite comfortable this week. Thing we need to watch for on this pattern, though, are these periodic little clusters of showers, even some thunderstorms. Like we saw over the weekend. It wasn't that well organized, but we did see some thunder around here last night. We had some of the showers around periodically yesterday, even some drizzle out there tonight as the wind is out of the northeast. But this has kind of been the pattern that we've been locked into. So next thing we're going to turn to is just our next cluster of showers. Most of our forecast is really dry this week, but this is what's going to be happening tomorrow. Big little complex of showers, even some embedded thunderstorms. Not really a big severe threat with this out west. But that'll be moving in from the west. So we'll likely see increasing clouds from this. Do we pick up a couple light rain showers tomorrow evening? Doesn't look like it. Looks like most of it's going to head down to the south, especially with our northeast wind that we have. That's a drier wind, so that tends to eat away at any rain. So I don't see a lot of rain in the forecast tomorrow evening. It will be close to us, but I really don't think it affects Northwest Indiana. That cluster sinks south, and then we kind of dry out. You notice these kind of scattered shower chances Tuesday afternoon. Again, I think we'll have too dry of an air mass in place. But you can kind of see the arrows here. That's a northeast wind, and that northeast wind, whenever you have a wind out of the north, northwest, any northerly direction, it tends to create rip currents in Lake Michigan as it kind of butts up against our shoreline. So if you've been putting off the swimming plans, I remember we talked about it Saturday morning in terms of the rip current risk this weekend. It's not a good weekend to be in the beach, or at the beach is fine, but in the water is not. But this is going to continue that rip current risk this week. So it doesn't look like a good swimming pattern in terms of Lake Michigan swimming Monday, Tuesday, even Wednesday at this point, as that northwest flow continues, which is a little bit odd for August. Typically we might get it 1 or 2 days behind a cold front, but this is pretty long lasting in terms of this pattern as the wind flow continues out of the north, and that continues to keep us comfy as well. So that's kind of, what we've been seeing, and that's what we're going to get this week. In terms of rainfall, though, let me kind of zoom in here so we can see it a little bit better. And again, if you guys have any questions or anything like that in terms of specifics with the forecast, I'll try to cover most of it here. But if you have questions, we'll answer them at the end. So feel free to put them in the chat there as we go along. So in terms of forecasting, here's what we're dealing with tonight. Again, the rain is really overdone on the Euro. We do have some drizzle out there. There's been some low clouds around, but in terms of any organized big areas of rain, not the case. So this low pressure is going to kind of spin up as we get over towards Pennsylvania and Ohio. So we're on the back side of it. It'll keep that northwest or northeast wind going. But in terms of the shower activity, I'm not really seeing it. Tomorrow, I think most of it's going to be out towards the east. And then with that cluster we were showing you down to the south and west. Here's Tuesday, Euro keeping us dry at this point. Some action just off towards our east with that low. Wednesday, more of the same. We're still dry. Scattered showers down to the south. Everything just kind of missing us. And there's really nothing that well organized. Our next real chance of rain arrives next weekend, unfortunately. Last weekend of summer for a lot of you. Some of the kiddos back in school already. So I get it. You want it to be a nice weekend on those last couple days. Friday looks dry at this point, but then remember I said that pattern where you have the big ridge, everything kind of coming at us from the northwest. That's going to bring in some kind of cluster of rain, maybe some storms in here as it looks right now, and that would arrive next weekend. So Saturday, here's what the Euro is saying for Saturday afternoon, just kind of widespread pop-up showers and even some thunderstorms. And then Sunday at this point, this is the 21st, right here, you can see there's a widespread chance of some rain. So we'd probably go about 40% on that, probably 60 for Saturday right now. And then that kind of hangs out. Monday, it's starting to pull out towards the east, but we still have some lingering rainfall chances. In terms of temperatures, this is the last thing I'll cover. The Climate Prediction Center puts this out. This is their long-range forecast, 8 to 14 days. And you can see the areas that have had so much heat this summer are finally getting some relief with this northeast flow that we have. So areas of Texas, you get down towards New Mexico, Arizona, a lot of that's monsoon, and a lot of that's this system that just moved in off the Gulf, which probably would have gone tropical if it would have stayed another day out over the Gulf, but that's bringing some much needed rain and cloud cover for them. So below average temperatures for them expected in the long term as well. And you notice how all the heat kind of goes out towards the west, and we stay right near normal, which isn't too bad. So where's that put us temperature wise? Here you go. This is the latest Euro run in terms of highs and lows. Don't take these numbers for truth, right? This is a model run, but you notice we're in the 70s with kind of this cloudier pattern over the next couple days. And then later this week, we do bring back some 80s as we warm up out ahead of that low coming in from the west. And then indication is on the Euro, by the time we get to the latter half of next weekend and to begin next week, we're back into the 70s. I will show you, usually when I'm doing forecasting, I'll take these numbers off of the Euro. Sometimes I'll take the GFS depending on how it does. And then I'll kind of blend them with something called the National Blend of Models. This puts together a lot of the global models, kind of averages them out. So as a meteorologist, the way I forecast, I'll blend into a blend, if that makes sense, unless I'm really feeling something. But this is what the blend says, and you can see pretty similar numbers. So highs in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees this week. It will be cooler near Lake Michigan with that northeast wind. Keep that in mind, at least on the front end of the week. And then maybe a little bit warmer Friday. And then next weekend and heading into next week, we're staying in the 70s. So that's not too shabby around here for this time of year. And those overnight lows, this is the part I love. Overnight lows have been nice, right? and they stay right near 60 degrees, upper 50s in some of the more rural areas. So very comfortable week ahead, all things considered. Humidity doesn't look too bad. We are going to bring a little bit more humidity in here. We've already kind of felt it. We'll bring in a little bit more humidity with that frontal boundary later this week. But overall, nothing extremely tropical or anything like that. All right. If you guys have questions, go ahead and ask them. And if not, we'll get you on your way here on this Sunday evening. I do have a quick announcement for you guys. It's an announcement about an announcement. Next Sunday, I have an exciting announcement for you. So kind of a teaser to that. But we've been working on some things behind the scenes for quite some time now. And we finally worked them out. So next Sunday, we'll be making an announcement over something exciting for Region Weather. I'm super pumped about it. And it's kind of where I've wanted Region Weather to go. I've kind of had that vision for it over the last, really 2 or 3 years. But it's kind of coming to fruition as we get into 2 weeks from now. So we'll talk about that on next Sunday night's Region Weather Live. All right. I want to say hi to Mark. You said hi earlier. Hi, you're absolutely welcome. Hi, Dot. Thanks for joining us. Maureen, hello. And thank you. Tiger Plumbing sent shirts to our kids too, which is awesome. So I really appreciate them. I hope you guys support them if you ever have any plumbing problems. Griegers too. We just got t-shirts from them too. They're just wonderful. And thank you. Appreciate that. Mary, hello. Thanks for joining us. Jay, I appreciate your comment. Chad, no. So Chad asks, any chance for upper 80s in the future or near future? I don't see any, Chad. Our only chance would be maybe later this week. I really don't see that kind of air mass coming in here. We may hit mid 80s, and that would be on the upper end of things. But really, all the heat we had that big ridge of heat in the Central Plains. That got squashed down this weekend with a real strong front that brought really dry, comfortable air down to Tennessee, North Georgia, Northern Alabama. They got some much needed relief. That front kind of pushed that heat back towards Texas, and the ridge has kind of shrunk a little bit as well. So that heat's really not as hot as it has been over the last couple of weeks, which is a sign of the season. I mean, the sun angle's not as high anymore. We are going to start to dance with some cooler air out of Canada more often. I mean, that's what happens at the end of summer, but it's really been pleasant, and I think we're going to stay that way over the next, couple weeks, or at least next week as it looks right now. Kevin asking, do you think with all the injuries, this is also a sports show too, I think with all the injuries to the Bears wide receiver, should they sign Odell Beckham Jr.? Kevin, the Browns tried that. I know he did well with the Rams. I don't think you want him on your team. I really don't. He's very highly paid. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, but I think the Bears just need to be in rebuild mode right now, and I don't think they want to take on a star. He would probably love to play in Cleveland or in Chicago though, but LA is a pretty big show as well. Tina, hello. Let's see. Chrissy asking a good question. Hey, Matt, the warmer weather coming back after the 70s after next weekend. Chrissy, there's no sign of it. Typically, that will happen. I mean, you have to have a ridge somewhere. And what will happen at the end, and what I mean at the end of our forecast is like the 8 to 14-day range like we showed, is that heat will be out towards the West Coast. So the West Coast will be under that ridge. We're still going to be under the trough. Remember, everything is together, west and east. But it's got to come east at some point, right? So the heat that they have out towards the west in the 10-day range will more than likely shift out towards the east. So we're not done with the hot weather yet. But in terms of the next, 8 to 12 days or so, I really don't see a lot of it. And again, that humidity is going to stay pretty comfortable as well. Let's see. Vicky, thank you very much. We did enjoy the weekend. It's good. We've got a lot going on in our house. This is probably, we just wrapped up probably one of the busiest, craziest weeks that my wife and I have had, not just with the kids, with things going on. We've got a father-in-law who's not doing too well, so we've had lots of hospital visits. We're in the process right now of buying a new house, and that requires selling this one. So all that's going on. We'll have a new Region Weather studio. But anyway, there's a lot going on. And then at work, I had a bunch of destination shots this week out on the islands. I'm doing a whole series on Lake Erie and all the things that our Great Lakes bring to us, and the little businesses that maybe you don't know about. So we were way out on the islands doing some work there. So it was a very busy week. So the weekend was nice. It was nice to relax a little bit, although we're doing like home stuff. So It just doesn't end. But I just love taking this time out of my day to talk weather with you guys. The questions are my favorite part because we can actually interact. I mean, that's the whole point of these, right? So, so thank you for making my weekend what it is here, at least to round it out for sure. Gregory, great question. I don't think we're done. Extreme heat, probably. We've had some hot days and some hot stretches in September and October. We can get, mid 90s. We've done upper 90s before too. So I can't say we're done with the extreme heat. But Gregory, when we get later in the season, 95 doesn't quite feel like 95 that it does in June or July, right? Because that sun angle's right up there. You get the thick humidity around here. Not saying we can't get really humid this time of year, but as we start to lose some leaves, some of the trees go first. Some trees go in September. We start to lose that foliage, and it's interesting how a 95-degree day in September feels a lot different than it does in the peak of summer, for sure. Amanda says, perfect weather for the bees to keep working. Aster and goldenrod are beginning to bloom here. Same here. We planted some aster, and actually, mine isn't blooming. It should be. I don't know what I did wrong, but we planted a lot of pollinator flowers back in the spring. I had a little grow lamp down here that the kids get involved in all that. And my aster did not do well this year. I'm not sure why, but the goldenrod certainly is going. Those of you with allergies, like ragweed allergies, are starting to feel it probably. Goldenrod, a big contributor to that as well. But Amanda, I'm glad that bees are doing well. I'm seeing, we just went for, driving, we go for walks around our neighborhood, and there's so many people that have pollinator gardens now. It's such a cool thing. And I know the nature loves it. Bees love it. Hummingbirds, butterflies, all that stuff. It's really cool to see people really digging nature, I guess. Chrissy asking about pool days. Yeah, I know. Chrissy, I just had this conversation with a coworker about, 70s aren't warm enough for the pool, in my opinion, and her opinion too. 80s and 90s and humidity, I know that's good pool weather. So I feel you on these upper 70s, low 80s is not warm enough, but the pool water should be warm by now, right? Phoebe asks a good question. What's your hunch for winter? Are we due for a wet, cold winter? So La Nina is hanging on, Phoebe, and I don't like to bank on any one, like El Nino, La Nina, or whatever it happens to be in between, because so many factors that go into it. We are certainly due for a cold, snowy winter. We haven't really had a good snowy winter in a while, so we're due, but that doesn't mean we're going to get it. La Nina is hanging on, so this is, I think, the third year that we've had a La Nina pattern. La Nina tends to bring more moisture, tends to bring some of the cold down from Canada, so we can tend to get snowier winters around here. But as we've seen last couple of years, as we've seen in several La Ninas back into the early 2000s, they don't always produce the same thing. It's really hard to bank on saying one pattern is going to produce this. So to make a long story short, Phoebe, you're going to start to see TV stations putting out winter forecasts. Here's my winter outlook. Those things are just, they're clickbait. I'm telling you, no one knows how this winter's going to go. And it's like going to the fortune teller. Not that anyone does that, but if you did, the fortune teller would tell you these very vague things, more than likely, that could come true. And you never really go back and check. Like, you're going to be successful over the next year. Well, how do you measure that? So what you'll hear on these winter outlooks that get put out are, it's going to be a colder than average winter or a warmer than average winter. Well, you're still going to have days that are below zero. So are we looking at averages? Or are we looking at average lows? And then who goes back in April and actually checks their work? No one does, because they forgot what the forecast is. So I know you didn't ask for all this, Phoebe, but I am not a big fan of winter outlooks or until we can get the next 10 days down. How am I going to tell you what the next 4 months are? And that's coming from someone who understands how to forecast the winter and how to look at global patterns. But sometimes, you get a blocking high pressure or blocking low pressure pattern gets stuck, and that throws off your winter forecast. So we're due for sure, but it really is too early to tell. And it's going to be a week by week thing once we get there. But we'll keep our eye on La Nina and stuff like that. Yeah, Debbie, interesting. Could you report on the winter salt mining underneath Lake Michigan? Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm not too, Debbie, I know Lake Erie has two salt mines. So Cargill, and we have Morton's here too. I know Morton's is in Chicago as well. So it's real interesting. If you guys have not seen, I can't speak to Lake Michigan because I grew up again next to Lake Erie, so I understand that. I don't know all the things that go on under Lake Michigan. But in terms of Lake Erie, which I imagine would be the same as Lake Michigan, there are giant salt mines underneath. You go about, I think, a mile under the water, and the way everything kind of decomposes and forms underneath the lake for millions, or not millions of years because lakes haven't been around that long, but for a long time, you get just massive amounts of salt down there. And they go in and they do dynamite in there. They have these big drills that go in. They have trucks and lifts and all this stuff there's folks that work down there for 8 to 10 hours a day, no light, right? They have their lights on their helmets and stuff like that. And they just get the salt and they bring it up. And that's what we use on the roads. And so it's super fascinating what happens underneath Lake Michigan. But if you are interested in that, it's all on YouTube. They have interviews and they can show you what they're doing. It's really fascinating stuff for sure. Yeah. Chrissy, I'm reading your comment. That's funny. Teresa, I skipped you? No, I didn't. Let me go back. Teresa, you gave me a high five. Did you ask me a question earlier? I don't ever want to skip a question. Anyway, Teresa, hi, if that's what it is. I appreciate you joining us for sure. Okay, I think that's it. I think I caught up with that. All right, so here's how we're going to go from here rest of the week. Again, lower temperatures. We're in the 70s and low 80s. Rainfall chances look pretty minimal. We're going to see some clouds later tomorrow as the system comes in. The rain should stay southwest of us. Doesn't look like a real rainy week. There are going to be some showers around as there's a low pressure. We'll keep it dry forecast for now, but it could change if the low shifts a little bit. We may have some scattered showers, nothing that well organized. Next weekend is our real next chance of rain as kind of an area low pressure rides the ridge in from the west. So that brings some shower and thunderstorm activity as it looks right now, Saturday, Sunday, just kind of an early preview at that. Overall temperatures, though, they may go up a little bit later this week, but it looks like they come back down into next week and we'll stay on the comfortable side. So the heat of August is not going to be around, at least this week. We'll see where we go after that. Okay. And as always, we'll keep you updated. Okay. All right, Michelle, I just saw your question. Hopefully that answers it for you. It does look like we bring rain chances back in next weekend, but we'll be on it. Okay. All right. We've got a big announcement for you next Sunday. So please join us then. Until then, we'll be around for any of your questions, anything like that. And we'll keep you updated on the weather across the region this week. All right. Thanks, guys. Enjoy your weekend.